Thank you for your patience. This was an untoward matter, and to make matters worse, it's daylight savings. I got up yesterday and was ready to go to bed. Hopefully we can all get through this thing. Detective Farrell, you're still under oath. You may continue your cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Detective Farrell.
Good morning, ma'am.
Detective, we left off on Friday beginning to speak about the major operation you conducted up in Vancouver, Washington, with the arrest of Christopher Austin and the separate interrogation that you conducted with Detective Byers and then with Deputy District Attorney Stiegel. And during that process, the separate Perkins operation that you also undertook. In leaving off on Friday, I was asking you about specifically the Perkins operation you conducted in Vancouver.
Okay.
And again, just to reiterate, a Perkins operation is where following an arrest, a suspect or arrestee is placed in a jail cell with an undercover police agent, correct?
Yes.
And that undercover police agent is posing as a cellmate, an in-custody cellmate, correct? And that undercover agent is there to see if stimulation you undertake by going to the jail cell elicits a conversation or information between the undercover agent and the arrestee, correct?
Yes.
And in this case, that was Christopher Austin.
Correct.
Okay. You mentioned that in response to the prosecutor's questions about this undercover operation, that Perkins operations are restricted to homicide cases and serious violent felonies. What is the reason that Perkins operations are restricted?
It's just a department policy that we have. It is a tool that is utilized in the most serious of cases, and I don't know. I think that they just want to restrict it to the use in the most serious cases as opposed to a burglary from a vehicle or a theft or something not as serious where this is not necessary.
Are you saying there's no investigative reason why the Perkins operations are restricted to more serious cases, violent felonies, and homicides?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And are the undercover agents in Perkins operations told to give information to the arrestee that they're posing as the cellmate of while they are communicating with the arrestee about the case being investigated?
No, they're not told to give information. Their purpose is to listen and engage in conversation.
Are Perkins agents instructed to give advice to suspects about what they should say to the police or what they should, how they should respond when they are interviewed by the police?
So a rule.
No, they're never given that information.
The prosecutor last week asked you if there were an entire set of protocols that apply to Perkins operations. Do you recall that?
I don't remember in what context, ma'am. What do you mean by protocols?
That was the word the prosecutor used. She asked you if there were an entire set of protocols which apply to Perkins operations, and you answered correct.
There are protocols, yes. As I mentioned, There is a team assigned to Robbery Homicide Division which facilitates the Perkins operation. They maintain information and control over the Perkins agents, and they facilitate, they provide, especially like in this case where we're in a jail cell that's not near the city of Los Angeles, the listening devices, the installation of those devices and such. So I guess those would be the protocols that are followed. That's not something that's taken on by the investigating detectives.
So when you are describing protocols, you're describing the elements of the Perkins operation?
Yes.
As you understood them?
As I understand them, yes.
Were there any special protocols in this particular Perkins operation that you were aware of?
No.
And when you responded last week when Ms. Silverman asked you about a briefing of the Perkins agent and team that took place in Vancouver?
Yes.
Okay. And that briefing was separate and apart from the general briefing you had?
Yes.
Who conducted the specific briefing for the Perkins undercover agent and their Perkins team?
Detective Byers and myself.
Had you, before you got to Washington, had you communicated any case information or specific facts about the investigation to any members of the Perkins team?
Yes.
What had you communicated to the Perkins agent and the team prior to getting to Vancouver?
So when you say communicated with the Perkins team, we communicated with the detectives, not the agent themselves. The only briefing the agent participates in is the one you referred to in Vancouver. But prior to that, we discuss the viability of the use of a Perkins operation and the way to accomplish that with the Perkins detectives. But the agent themselves are not part of that initial briefing.
Okay. In that initial briefing with the Perkins detectives, how many detectives are we talking about?
2 detectives.
And who were those detectives?
Detective Frank Carrillo and Detective Victor Marin.
Marin?
Marin, M-A-R-I-N.
Thank you. And in that discussion prior to coming to Vancouver, what specifically did you relay about the investigation and anticipated arrest of Christopher Austin?
Well, we relayed the fact that we believe that we had gathered evidence to suggest that Christopher Austin was the other jogger seen in the video, and that we were attempting to determine his role in the murder and the conspiracy to kill Fabio Sementilli.
Did you relay to the detectives on the Perkins team prior to going to Vancouver anything about Monica Sementilli or Robert Baker?
Yes.
What did you relay to the detectives before you got to Washington?
Well, the fact that both of them had been arrested and that the investigation had uncovered a number of items of evidence that suggested their involvement in the murder, and that Robert Baker, at that point, when we initiated the Perkins, had pled guilty to the murder of Fabio Sementilli.
Was there anything related to the detectives before you got up to Vancouver and did the briefing about your theory about Monica Sementilli being somehow involved in the planning of the murder?
I don't know if it was so much a theory as that there was a lot of evidence that suggested she was involved in the planning of the murder.
When you testified last week, we talked about whether at the time you went up to arrest Chris Austin, you had any indicia, direct evidence that there was a nexus between Monica Sementilli and Christopher Austin. Do you recall that?
I do recall that.
Was there any discussion with the detectives before you came up to Washington on the Perkins team about your interest, as you stated it in the affidavit in support of the Ramey warrant, to determine if there was any nexus between Monica Sementilli and Christopher Austin.
Yes, and you said direct evidence, but there was a plethora of circumstantial evidence that suggested her involvement in the conspiracy to kill Fabio Sementilli.
I think my question to you was, did you communicate to the Perkins detectives before you went to Washington anything about your interest in whether you could establish a nexus between Monica Sementilli and Christopher Austin?
Yes.
And then once you got to Washington, as you testified earlier, you conducted this briefing, correct?
Correct.
Who attended the briefing? Did the Perkins undercover agent, was he part of this briefing?
Yes.
And were all of the other detectives from the Perkins team there, the two other detectives?
Yes.
And who conducted that briefing?
As I said, Detective Byers and I conducted the briefing.
Okay. And what did you, the briefing wasn't recorded, correct?
Correct.
And you made no notes or report of what you told the Perkins agent at that time?
We did not.
Can you please tell us what information you communicated in your briefing to the Perkins agent and the two detectives once you were up in Washington?
Yes. So the best of my recollection, I recall talking about the fact that Fabio Sementilli was murdered inside of his residence. That video showed two suspects, one of which had been identified. The other was who we believe to be Christopher Austin, fully concealing themselves as they ran up to the house. That I told him that the suspects fled in the victim's vehicle from the location, and that was also captured on video. I believe I told him that the identified suspect the identified suspect in the case, based on DNA evidence, was Robert Baker, who was established to be, I don't think I used the name Robert Baker, I just said the suspect that was identified in the case through DNA was established to be in a relationship with the victim's wife, and that we believed there to be a nexus between the three persons, or we were trying to establish whether there was a nexus between the three persons, that being the identified killer, Mr. Austin, and the wife of the victim.
Is it your testimony here today that during that briefing you at no time indicated that you were interested in seeing if there was any evidence from Christopher Austin that could suggest or establish that somehow Monica Sementilli was a planner or mastermind of this murder?
Well, our interest was, and our objective was to determine what his knowledge was about her role in the murder.
And you conveyed that to the Perkins agent?
Yes.
And this Perkins agent went by the alias Willie Boyd. That wasn't obviously his real name, correct?
Correct.
And you spoke about your role in the Perkins operation being the critical piece where there was what you described as stimulation throughout the day?
I don't think I said critical piece,
Okay.
but I was the person who did the stimulation, meaning I was the one who approached Christopher Austin and identified that, my partner and I were from the Los Angeles Police Department and the purpose for our contact with him.
Okay. And in fact, throughout that day, before you and your partner, Detective Byers, ever took Christopher Austin into an interview room, there were multiple times where you went to the jail cell and conducted this so-called stimulation, correct?
I think there were 2 times.
Okay. And in addition to the 2 times you went to the cell, or at least you testified about going to the cell, you also had another detective or someone posing as a detective or officer go to the cell initially to inform Mr. Austin that there was a fugitive warrant for homicide for him?
I believe so.
You placed Mr. Austin in a jail cell after his arrest on the 2nd of October, about 9:23, around 9:30 that morning, correct?
That sounds about right, ma'am.
And the detective or officer that you had go to the jail cell went to the jail cell about an hour later to talk about that there was a fugitive warrant?
Sounds correct, ma'am.
Okay. And all that he communicated to the undercover agent and Mr. Austin at the time was that there was a fugitive warrant out of state for homicide, correct?
I believe so.
You testified earlier on Friday, I think, that you had the capability of simultaneously overhearing what was going on in the jail cell, correct?
Yes.
And you were monitoring what the Perkins agent and Mr. Austin were talking about at various points during the day?
With the exception of when I walked to the cell, yes.
Now, you were aware that as soon as the officer, I think his name was Officer Martin, explained to Chris Austin in front of the undercover agent that there was this out-of-state fugitive warrant for murder, that the Perkins agent started talking quite a bit to Christopher Austin, correct?
Yes.
So I know before when you testified, Ms. Silverman asked you about were there multiple hours of silence, and you indicated that at first there was silence. Pretty much from about an hour in, when Officer Martin went to do the first stimulation, the undercover agent and Christopher Austin were engaged in a pretty consistent conversation, correct?
So after the Officer Martin went to the, is that what you're asking? After?
Yes, yes.
It was sporadic, I would say.
Okay. The undercover agent, immediately after the officer left, said to Christopher Austin that you got to do what you got to do. The game is called Get Home. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And they talked quite a bit about Christopher Austin's background and his life and how important it was for him to get home, correct?
Sounds correct, yes.
And in fact, Christopher Austin almost immediately tells the Perkins agent that he's going to have to call his attorney. He's going to have to call his attorney. He said that, correct?
I do remember hearing that, yes.
Okay. And after he says that he wants to call his attorney, the Perkins agent tells him, well, you can spend 3 or 4 years fighting a case, or if you don't call an attorney, that'll be 3 or 4 years that you could be home. Do you recall that?
I don't recall that conversation. If you want to refresh my recollection,
Okay, showing you the transcript starting at page 31. Of the Perkins. if you could read to yourself, starting line 13, and then on down to the bottom.
Okay, I've refreshed my recollection now.
Does that refresh?
Yes,
And the undercover agent told Christopher Austin, you can get an attorney, but guess what? You could be sitting in jail 3 to 4 years fighting a case to when that 3 or 4 years you can be at home not fighting shit.
that's what he said.
Okay. Now, you did your first stimulation by walking over to the jail cell and speaking to Austin and the undercover agent. And I think you testified on Friday that you introduced yourself as a detective from the Los Angeles Police Department. You made him aware that he was detained for a warrant from Los Angeles. You did that.
Yes,
You also testified that you explained that our goal was to speak with him so that we could obtain information as to everyone's role in the murder of Fabio Sementilli. You told him that?
yes,
You also testified that you told him at that time that you wanted him to be honest. Is that what you told him?
absolutely.
Okay. You were also asked if at any time during the stimulations, which you said were at least 2, correct?
Yes,
That did you ever use the name of Monica or Monica Sementilli?
not during the stimulations. I said, I think I referred to her as lady.
Okay. In fact, you told in that initial stimulation, you told him right away more than just that. You said to him and described 2 people being involved in the case, correct?
Yes,
You actually told him that you're probably aware that there are 2 people in this case, your uncle who has already gone to prison, and that the other person, the lady, is just about to start trial. You told him that as stimulation.
yes,
You also told him that you were going to give him an opportunity to give a clear and concise accounting of his role from his perspective, so that when you go back to the district attorney, you can let them know that you are an honest guy, that you changed your life, and that you're moving on. And we can see what happens. Did you tell him that?
yes,
And then you went back, you left the cell, and you were continuing to monitor what was said in the cell, correct?
when I made it back to the monitoring area, yes.
And after you made it back, you heard the Perkins agent tell Christopher Austin that the bitch, that's why you're here, because the bitch is fixed to go up for trial and to try to make shit better for herself. You heard the Perkins agent tell him that, correct?
I don't know if I heard it live because I was making my way back, but I've subsequently heard that in the recording.
And Austin responded that the DA probably wants to, I think he used the word expedite, but the DA probably wants to expedite me back to California.
That sounds accurate.
Okay. And then the Perkins undercover agent tells Austin, but if this gets you to your family immediately, and he had previously just said, just because they talking to you don't mean you got to use this, but if this gets you to your family immediately, you got to do what the fuck you got to do. And they saying a bitch involved. To me,
what page and line are you reading from?
this is, I'm sorry, I skipped one sentence. Go to, he first says in response.
Again, counsel, what page and line are you reading from?
He first says,
Objection, Your Honor.
it first
Counsel
says,
is reading from the transcript and there's no foundation.
Please identify the page and line.
we're starting now at 37 of the Perkins, line 15.
And I'm going to object to reading from the transcript.
That's what I was trying to avoid, Your Honor.
I understand that.
Okay.
Try again.
Detective, you were back monitoring the Perkins when the Perkins agent told the suspect, Christopher Austin, that fixed to go for trial, that's why you here, because the bitch is fixed to go up for trial to try to make this shit better for herself. You heard him say that to Christopher Austin?
Objection asked and answered.
I'll allow this.
Yes.
He also told you, this undercover agent, that he wanted to see what you're going to say so he knows what to go back and tell the DA. Was the undercover agent, in your mind, referring to you who had come up and talked about going to the DA?
I believe so.
And the agent continues to talk to Christopher Austin, and tells him that it's her life or your life, referring to this lady. Is that correct?
From what's been already discussed.
So ruled.
Page and line, please.
42.
I don't remember that, ma'am.
You heard the agent tell Christopher Austin that you got to save yourself, man. That bitch is trying to get out.
I don't remember that.
Would it refresh your recollection to read the transcript?
Sure.
Page 42, line 4 through 8. If you could read that silently.
Okay, I've refreshed my recollection.
Does it refresh?
Yes.
And in fact, the undercover agent tells Christopher Austin, you know the situation. You got to save yourself, man. That bitch is trying to get out. At this time, I'm just trying to be honest. Fuck that. Fuck her life. It's her life or your life. The agent told that to Christopher Austin, correct?
Yes.
And he immediately responded to the agent by saying, yeah, and then saying to the agent, I don't know her. I don't keep up with his escapades, you know? That was none of my business.
Yes.
And the agent then says to him, but right now, it's your life or her life. You barely knew the bitch, you saying. You got a family. This hoe been in jail. You get what I'm saying? He said that to Christopher Austin, correct?
Correct.
The agent starts questioning Austin in the cell also about what his role was in the case, correct?
Yes.
And he tells the subject, Christopher Austin, or he asks, what was the bitch's role? And Austin doesn't respond, correct?
I don't remember, ma'am.
Would it refresh to look at it?
Yeah.
44, lines 16 to 18.
Okay.
And when the agent asked Christopher Austin what was the bitch's role, and he doesn't respond, the undercover agent says to Austin, they're going to let you know.
Yes, that's what he said.
And then he follows that by telling Austin that they, and I think he's still referring to the police or the DA, they can either make your life more miserable or make your life go back to the way it was before they came fucking with you. He told him that as well.
He told him that, but I don't know who he was referring to as the they.
Okay. And all during this time, the agent has been directed to say these things to Christopher Austin or not directed?
Not directed.
Did you think it was appropriate for the agent to be telling Christopher Austin these things that he was telling him?
Objection relevant.
Sustained.
Detective, the Perkins agent continues for quite a while to talk to Christopher Austin and tell Christopher Austin things before you come back to the cell around 12:30 again, correct?
That sounds correct.
And the Perkins agent makes clear to Christopher Austin that they want the big fish, and that the big fish is Monica Sementilli, correct?
I don't know that. I mean, I don't know what he was referring to.
Okay. Well, the undercover agent tells Austin, when it comes down to shit like this, and I'm just being honest, they want the big fish, correct?
That's what he said, yes.
And Austin responded by saying, I don't even know this woman. Is that correct?
Sounds correct, yes.
Detective, when you head over to do the next stimulation in the cell, you come to the cell and tell Christopher Austin in front of the undercover agent, certainly our goal is not to disrupt your life or your family's. It's just unfortunately the position we're placed in. I can't stress the importance of being honest in this situation, correct?
Yes.
And at that point, you then show Christopher Austin still captured pictures from a video, correct? The
Yeah.
surveillance video?
Yes.
You tell him you know how you guys arrived. You're referring to Baker and Austin at that point?
Yes.
You tell him that you know how you guys left, correct?
Yes.
And you show him a still surveillance capture photo of the Porsche that was stolen from Mr. Sementilli, correct?
Yes.
Leaving on the street, correct?
Correct.
And you tell Christopher Austin in front of the agent, It's the in-between that I want to hear from you about what happened in between,
I'm going to object, this is all cumulative.
I'll hear it.
correct?
Yes.
And then you stress again that it's important for him to be honest, correct?
Yes.
But you don't immediately leave the cell at that point. Christopher Austin asked you some questions, correct?
I believe so. I don't remember what they were.
Okay. Christopher Austin asked you, well, what do you need from me to get home to my girls? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you told him, we'll sit down and we'll have a talk about that.
Correct.
You leave again, and you overhear the Perkins agent and Austin continuing to talk, correct?
Yeah, as soon as I return to the listening post, yes.
The undercover agent asks you, and the bitch who they got, did you ever meet that bitch?
The undercover agent asked me that?
Asks Mr. Austin in the cell.
I don't remember.
Could you look at, would it refresh to look?
Yes.
106?
What line, ma'am?
8 through 10?
Okay. Can you repeat your question?
The undercover agent asks Christopher Austin, and the bitch they got, did you ever meet that bitch? He's asking Austin. And he says to the undercover agent, seen her, but I don't know her.
He said before that he's seen her, but then after said he did not know her. He acknowledged that he had seen her, but didn't know her.
And he tells the agent, I can't remember what she looked like. Like I said, my uncle was with a lot of women.
Yes.
And shortly thereafter, the undercover agent tells Austin that he's going to have to switch up his story. Is that right?
I don't remember that.
He tells the agent, well, would it refresh to look at
Yes.
page 115, lines 22 to 24?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the lines, ma'am?
I'm sorry, I cited too early. 8 to 11, lines 8 to 11 on 115.
Okay. Can you repeat the question?
Yes. The agent told Austin, of course you're going to have to switch your story up a little bit. You got to get that shit right before they come talk to you, bro. Real shit, real fucking shit. He
Yes.
told Austin that,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And then minutes before you come back to the cell to take Austin and do any more stimulation, you also know that the agent told Austin that he had a job to do, and it's up to him if he's going to do his job, correct?
I don't remember that. Is that the same page?
Did he say to Austin, did Austin say to him, I should say, they're down here to do a job? Page 116, lines 6 through 11?
Okay, can you repeat the question?
Yes. Did Austin say to the undercover agent, referring to you and your team, they're down here to do a job?
Yes.
And in fact, the agent responded to Austin by saying, well, you got a job too to do, and it's up to you if you're going to do your job, bro. You got 2 jobs you can do. You can do the job that's going to get you home, or do the job that's going to get you gone. And Austin responds, it's still up to the DA, whoever the DA is. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then you go to the cell around 1:15 that afternoon, and you go to get Christopher Austin and take him to an interview room, correct?
That sounds correct.
Okay. And when you do that, detective, you don't make him put on the handcuffs at that time. Is there a reason for that?
We were in a secure facility, and the location of the interview room was not in a tremendous long distance, so we're in a secure jail environment.
Don't you normally handcuff murder suspects?
Not always.
Once Christopher Austin gets in the interview room with you and Detective Byers, you make clear to him, Detective Farrell, you and your partner make clear to him that when it comes to the charging of people, that's a DA decision. Do you recall telling him that?
Yes.
And your partner tells Christopher Austin right at the start that you seem like a good guy and we give everybody the opportunity to be truthful. You recall that?
I do.
And you tell him that there's really not a lot we want to talk to you about, but we give everybody the opportunity to talk. That was said, correct?
Yes.
And after you tell him that the DA makes a determination on charges and filing and anything like that, you start to question him about his role in the murder, correct?
I believe we Mirandized him, and we gathered some basic information before we started to talk about his role in the murder.
You gathered biographical information from him, correct?
Correct.
And you then showed him a picture of Robert Baker, correct?
Yes.
And you asked him about his relationship with Baker, who he knew as Unc, correct?
Correct.
You also then start to talk to him about whether he knows Monica Sementilli, who you refer to as the lady, correct?
Yes.
Now, at this point, he's never said that he even knows Monica's name, correct?
Correct.
And you, as you said before, never said Monica's name when you did any stimulation, correct?
Correct.
And again, you talked to Austin about that it's the DA who decides whether there are going to be charges and what's going to be filed, correct?
It is.
You never at any time told Austin that it was going to be up to any judge, correct?
No.
You told him repeatedly that it was going to be up to the DA whether he was going to be charged and what he was going to be charged with, correct?
It is cumulative.
Detective, when you next showed a picture of Monica Sementilli to Christopher Austin and asked him how you know this lady, he clearly told you that I don't, correct?
Yes.
And you asked if he recognized Monica's face at all, and he said to you, not really, like, who is she, correct?
Yes.
And he tells you that he's seen her before, correct?
Yes.
And tells you about seeing her at the gym, correct?
Yes.
And that he went to go visit Baker, and she walked by and he saw them talking, correct?
Sounds correct, yes.
Okay. And you specifically asked Austin at that time whether Baker ever offered any information to Austin about her, meaning this lady, and whether Baker ever boasted or bragged to Austin anything like that.
Can I refresh my recollection with the interview, ma'am? That's a lot of
Sure,
information.
25 lines 21 to 23. And I'm sorry, this is just to make clear is the interview of Austin, which is, I believe, on your tab B, just to make sure you are clear.
Yes, I found it. Thank you.
Okay. And in fact, when you and your partner asked Austin about whether Baker had ever offered any information about this lady or boasted or bragged, anything like that, Austin makes clear that Baker said, yeah, I'm messing with this, this new chick, correct?
Yes.
And Austin told you that he had responded, that's dope, how is she? And Baker responded, oh, she's cool, but we'll see. I got another one on the side. That's just how he's always been. That's how Austin described anything that Baker said about this lady, correct?
Yes.
And then you go on in the next period, over a half hour, 45 minutes, to interrogate Austin. And in fact, Austin confesses to you that he participated in the killing of Fabio Sementilli with Robert Baker, and that Austin tells you he actually stabbed Fabio Sementilli in the neck, correct?
Yes.
And you also heard from Austin that he said that the initial plan was we're going to go and rough her dude up, referring to the lady, correct?
Object. Cumulative.
Sustained.
You told the prosecutor on Friday that Mr. Austin had confessed, correct?
Yes.
And when he confessed, he didn't just say that he went to murder Fabio Sementilli. He told you at that time his intention was that he thought that they were just going to rough Fabio Sementilli up because Baker had told him that his girlfriend was in an abusive relationship, correct?
Objection cumulative.
Sustained.
At no time during that first interview did Christopher Austin tell you that he had ever spoken to Monica Sementilli directly, other than when he went one time to her house, correct?
This is a long interview. I think that there was a reference to a visit to the house where he ate pizza and fell asleep on the couch, and there was an interaction there. And I'm not sure, there may have been an interaction at the gym during some racquetball or something along those lines.
He first told you that he had gone to the gym to see Baker, and that Baker and this woman had been speaking after he got to the gym, correct?
Yes.
And he made no indication that this woman had ever spoken to him, Christopher Austin, about anything to do with planning a murder, correct?
Correct.
After Austin confesses to you and your partner, Detective Byers, that he in fact stabbed Fabio Sementilli, the district attorney joins the conversation, correct?
He had asked to speak with the district attorney who was present in Washington, yes.
And you arranged for the deputy district attorney, Ms. Stiegel, to come into the room and participate in the interview, correct?
Yes.
And Austin immediately says to the DA that he wanted to talk to her because he understood that everything depends on her, correct?
I don't know if it was her in particular. Can I reference the interview?
Sure, page 83.
What line, ma'am?
Line 22, starting at 22 to 25.
Okay, can you repeat your question?
Am I right that Christopher Austin, when the deputy district attorney comes into the room, tells the deputy district attorney, I wanted to talk to you because I understand everything depends on you. You do have a job to do. Did he say that to the DA?
He did, but the DA also responded to him.
And she responded that I can't make you promises or deals either today, but I can at least, just so you know that, do you want to think about it?
Yes, there's quite a bit of advising of him that he has the right not to speak with her, that he can answer only certain questions. There's talk about if he wishes to have a lawyer that he can. I mean, there's all of that in between that conversation about her inability to do anything but listen to what he had to say that day.
Right. And that's when you then take him back to the cell and conduct yet another stimulation, correct?
I don't think there was any more stimulations. He was taken back to the cell, yes.
Okay. Turning to page 121, just so you can anticipate.
Is this in the interview, ma'am, or the...
This is in the Perkins.
Okay.
Now, at this point, nowhere has Christopher Austin ever said that he even knows Monica Sementilli's name, correct?
He knows who she is. He did not know. I think his explanation was he didn't know her.
Okay. But he never said her name, right?
I don't think so.
And you testified in response to the prosecutor's very clear question on Friday that at no time during the stimulations in the jail cell did you ever say Monica or Monica Sementilli to Christopher Austin, correct?
Not before the interview.
So when Ms. Silverman asked you if you'd ever said the name Monica or Monica Sementilli during the stimulations, you thought she was limiting that to the first stimulation?
Well, that's all I would consider is the two contacts at the jail cell before the interview was what I would consider stimulation. Anything after is just conversation that I'm having with Mr. Austin. And during the interview, certainly her name was brought up in the interview.
Who brought up her name in the interview?
I believe my partner and I did.
You did not. Did you bring it?
You're testifying.
Can you tell me where you brought it up in the interview of Christopher Austin, Monica Sementilli's name?
I don't know the exact page. This interview is 164 pages. My recollection is that her name was brought up in the interview.
If you find that, let me know. But isn't it a fact, Detective Farrell, that Monica or Monica Sementilli her name had never been brought up until you conducted this next stimulation at the jail cell and said to Christopher Austin, I feel bad that Monica wrapped you up in this. Rob wrapped you up in this. Because that's kind of what it seems like to me. Did you say that to Christopher Austin?
Yes.
And then you repeated it again a few seconds later. You said to him again, I feel bad. Monica wrapped you up in this. Rob wrapped you up in this. You tell him that a second time, correct?
Yes.
And immediately after you leave, the Perkins agent says to Austin, who the fuck is Monica? Is that the bitch? And Austin says, I think that's her name. Yeah. Does Austin say that?
Yes.
Does the Perkins agent say that?
Yes.
It's the Perkins agent who says to Austin at that point, to me it sounds like the bitch is the one who planned this shit. Did the Perkins agent say
Your
that?
Honor, again, I object. The counsel's going to read from something.
Please.
The procedure is to provide the page and line of counsel.
Please go to the page and line.
Page 123. I'm sorry, starting at page 122, lines 1 through 3.
Are we talking about the Perkins counsel or the interview?
It's the Perkins. The Perkins agent detective says at that point, "Who the fuck is Monica? Is that the bitch?" And Austin says, "I think
Sorry,
that's
counsel,
her name."
That's not on page 122, as you directed. 122 is the detective in this Austin.
No, in the Perkins interview.
I'm in Perkins. I'm on page 122. Those lines don't fit.
Did the Perkins agent ever say,
Your Honor, I need to know what page and line.
You can compare the transcripts. You can compare your transcript with counsel.
does it start,
Again,
does your line start, "He said something, who the fuck is Monica"?
no.
Okay, I'm reading from a transcript. So.
You are.
And it says Perkins assistant, so I'm assuming it's the Perkins transcript.
Yeah, it's the one we provided you, but it's not on page 122.
Okay, that's,
It is correct, Your Honor.
okay. It's correct. I don't know if the people's transcript is wrong, but I'm reading directly from the transcript.
Good.
Can you show me your transcript?
Sure.
May I proceed? I need to find it.
Wait a moment. Who's gonna say?
Huh? So the Perkins undercover operative says to Christopher Austin, "Who the fuck is Monica?" just after you've said to him that Monica wrapped you up in this. Following that, the Perkins agent says to Austin, "Who the fuck is Monica? Is that the bitch?" And Austin says, "I think that's her name."
Can I look at the transcript as well? What page?
122, lines 1 through 3.
Okay, I'll refresh my recollection.
That's what the Perkins agent said, and that's how Christopher Austin responded, correct?
After he asked him if he told the truth, and he said, yes, because of her involvement.
Where did the Perkins agent say that?
said page 122. If you look on 121, line 23, it says, the Perkins agent said, so basically you told him the truth? And he says, actually because of that woman.
And then he asks, who the fuck is Monica? And he says, I think that's her name.
Yes.
And it's also the case that the undercover agent told Christopher Austin, following that, they need you to get this bitch, because just think, if she get off, she'll get that insurance money. You see what I'm saying? The Perkins agent said that to Christopher Austin, correct?
Yes.
Counsel, what page was that?
It's 128, lines 7 through 9. They need you to get this bitch, because just think, if she get off, she'll get that insurance money. You see what I'm saying? But they already know that this bitch done set this thing up. The Perkins agent tells you that the police know that the bitch set this up, correct?
He didn't tell me, no.
He told Austin,
Yes.
and you overheard it.
Yes.
Did you go into the cell at any time and stop the Perkins agent from saying these things to Christopher Austin?
No.
Isn't it a fact, detective, that the Perkins agent repeatedly tells Austin that it's all up to him about what he tells the police and to testify against this bitch? He repeatedly tells him that's how he's going to go home, correct?
I don't know if he repeatedly told him that. If you want me to look at the transcript from the Perkins and direct me to that, I would be happy to refresh my recollection. I don't have a recollection of him repeatedly telling him that.
Detective, he tells, the undercover agent tells Christopher Austin in that cell that you, Christopher Austin, were brung into this by that bitch, and you're endued, and first one tell, first one out of jail. Did he say that?
What portion of the...
131, lines 20 to 23 of the Perkins interview.
Page 131, ma'am?
Yes, 131,
Lines...
lines 20 to 23.
Thank you. Okay, I'll refresh my recollection.
That's what
Can you repeat the question?
the Perkins agent told Christopher Austin at that time. But again, you were brung into this by the bitch, and the dude, and again, first one to tell, first one out of jail.
Yes.
He's telling him that he was brought into this by the bitch, correct?
That's what he said, yes.
He's not asking him if he was brought into it by the bitch, correct?
I don't remember the tone. Obviously, the inflection of one's voice could change that between a statement and a question.
Isn't it a fact, Detective, that this agent tells Christopher Austin on page 128, just so that you can anticipate, they need you to get this bitch. They already know that this bitch done set this shit up.
What line, ma'am?
Line 7, starting at line 7.
Okay, and what was the question?
Isn't it true that the Perkins agent said to Christopher Austin, they need you to get this bitch. They already know that this bitch done set this shit up.
Yes.
And isn't it true, Detective, that Christopher Austin says at page 139, I'm gonna be honest, I've seen a lot of situations, if the offer benefits me and my girls, whether I lose them to this or this situation or not, but I get to go home to see my daughter and my wife, I'll give them whatever they think they need. Did Christopher Austin say that in front of the Perkins agent on October 2nd in the afternoon?
Yes. Yes.
And throughout Christopher Austin's conversations with you that day, he wasn't holding back, correct? He confessed to murdering Fabio Sementilli. Did he not?
Well, he did hold back on information that we've now learned since he's testified, but no, he did not hold back about his participation and role in the murder of Fabio Sementilli.
So he told you the detail about his killing Fabio Sementilli. The only part he left out was that somehow his new claim in the proffer that Monica Sementilli was somehow the mastermind of the whole thing, correct?
He did not mention that in our interview, no.
Detective, you spent many hours with Christopher Austin that day, either in interviews with him, with you and your partner, with the DA, and then doing these stimulations and overhearing what the undercover agent was telling him, correct?
Yes.
It lasted pretty much from 9:30 in the morning to after 4 that afternoon, correct?
Yes.
And not only did you tell Christopher Austin twice in your stimulations Monica Sementilli's name, but the district attorney, when she came back to re-interview Christopher Austin, she told Christopher Austin Monica's name, correct?
I don't remember.
Isn't it true that when you resumed the interview where DA Heather Stiegel and you and Detective Byers had met previously, you at some point got Christopher Austin out of the cell and brought him back to the interview room, correct?
Yes.
And at that point, Christopher Austin was questioned by DA Stiegel and you and Detective Byers, correct?
Yes.
And that second interview with DA Stiegel, Austin says repeatedly to you and DA Stiegel, "What can you do as a DA for me to see my girls?" Correct?
I'm going to object.
Page
This is all
90.
cumulative.
Sustained.
He asked DA Stiegel directly what can he do to see his girls, correct?
Same objection.
Sustained.
Detective, when DA Stiegel was in that room, she told Christopher Austin, when asking him about Ms. Sementilli, "What do you think you first heard about, the racquetball lady or Monica?"
I don't remember, ma'am.
Did you discuss Monica with Christopher Austin in that room?
Your question is confusing to me. I believe that she was discussed. in that
Page
room.
96 of your,
If the detective could finish his answer,
You may.
I believe Monica was discussed in the interview, yes.
and Deputy District Attorney Stiegel actually used Monica's name at page 97, line 2, correct?
Page 97. Okay. And what was the question then?
The DA told Christopher Austin Monica's name.
Yes.
You told Christopher Austin Monica's name.
I believe so, yes.
And in fact, the very first time that Christopher Austin ever said Monica's name was after you and the DA told Christopher Austin her name.
Okay. I don't have a recollection of him using her name before that. But I'm confused by your question,
Well,
I guess.
maybe I can clarify. The Deputy District Attorney, in her direct examination of you, Detective, seemed to emphasize in her questioning of you that at no time did you tell Christopher Austin Monica's name before he said Monica's
I'm
name.
going to object. That's our
Sustained.
Detective, isn't it a fact that Christopher Austin at no time indicated when he was confessing to the murder of Fabio Sementilli that Monica Sementilli was involved in the planning or execution of Fabio's murder?
I believe he made reference to her contacting Baker to let them know the time that was opportune to go up to the house to murder him.
Isn't it the case, Detective, that what Christopher Austin told you, which you kept telling him you thought was the truth, was that Baker told him before they went up to kill Fabio that he was home alone and that he believed that Monica had told Baker this, but did not know that?
Correct.
And at each time he referred to Baker telling him that Fabio was alone, or that there was money, or that there was anything related to the planning or carrying out of this murder, Christopher Austin, when he was interviewed by you, before he started making a deal, made very clear that all he knew is what he believed or assumed, that Monica had participate?
Well, it's information that he was witnessing and observed through Baker, who he believed to have been in contact with Monica.
Detective, Christopher Austin never at any time told you or anyone else in this case when he was in Vancouver, Washington, that he ever saw a text or heard a conversation or even heard a woman's voice, correct?
Correct.
And he assumed that that's where Baker got the information, correct?
Correct.
And there was nothing that you gleaned from that 12 hours or whatever it was, 8 hours of interrogation and use of the Perkins that gave you any evidence that Christopher Austin had any communications from Monica Sementilli or that she had actually and intentionally planned the murder of her husband, correct?
That's compound.
Sustained.
Misstates the evidence.
Isn't it a fact, Detective, that when you left that station that day at whatever it was, 5 or 6 o'clock at night, all that Christopher Austin had indicated was that he assumed or believed that Monica Sementilli was involved in this?
Yes.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Take our morning recess for 15 minutes. The admonition applies. See you back here in 15 minutes. Record here is Sementilli. Defendant is present. All counsel present. Jury and alternates are present. Detective Farrell, you're still under oath, and is there any redirect?
Yes.
Detective, when you were asked questions about the length of your investigation regarding Chris Austin, you told us you started in late June of 2024, correct?
Yes.
And spent some time going through what had already been done, and then you and your partner wrote some search warrants, and then by October of 2024, so within 4 months, the Chris Austin investigation was pretty much done.
Correct.
All right. Now, you also talked about the fact that you and your partner had to draft and serve some search warrants for information regarding Austin's change of ticket from January 24th to after the murder on January 23rd, because no documentation in terms of records that could be used to prove he changed his ticket existed at that point. Is that also correct?
Yes.
It is cumulative.
In terms of this Perkins operation, when you were asked whether it was an extensive Perkins operation, was it different than every other Perkins operation?
No, same as every other Perkins I've ever participated in.
So there was nothing added.
Correct.
Now, counsel asked you if the only thing Austin added once he came back to Los Angeles was that the defendant was the mastermind behind the conspiracy to kill Fabio Sementilli. Isn't it true that Mr. Austin never used that term, mastermind?
Correct.
And in addition, when Mr. Austin came back to Los Angeles and was interviewed at Robbery Homicide Division in November of last year on the 18th and the 20th, that he also went into his trip in July of 2016 with Baker to Las Vegas to stay with Al Birdsong.
Yes, he discussed that.
And also, did he at that time talk about, as much as he could remember, the conversations between he, Baker, and Birdsong relating to the planning of the murder of Fabio Sementilli?
He did.
And more importantly than all of that, the first time that you ever learned that there was an attempt to kill Fabio Sementilli the night before his murder on January 22nd, that wasn't brought up until the proffer in November of 2024. Is that right?
That's correct.
However, during the time that you spoke and interviewed Mr. Austin in Vancouver, Washington, he mentioned and discussed with you and your partner, Detective Byers, that from what he observed, Baker was in constant contact with his girlfriend, the defendant.
Yes.
And that Baker didn't make any plans to go anywhere or do anything until he first communicated with the defendant.
Yes.
Misstates the evidence.
Overruled.
That was his understanding, yes.
That's what he told you he observed and what he heard, correct?
Yes.
And that the actions by he and Baker as to when, the timeline of when he and Baker went to the defendant's home to kill Fabio Sementilli on the 23rd was precipitated by a communication that Baker got from the defendant saying that she was leaving and the victim was now there alone.
Yes.
Objection misstates the evidence.
Overruled.
In terms of the briefing that took place with the Perkins agent, was that a lengthy process?
No.
How long approximately did it take to brief the Perkins agent?
10 or 15 minutes.
Okay. And is it the Perkins agent's job to determine the language and the style of communication, or is that something that you direct as the detective?
I don't direct. Once they're inside the cell, the communication they have with the arrestee is on their own. We don't direct any of that.
Okay. So again, that's left to the Perkins agent to determine the language used and the style of communication.
Correct.
Did you tell the Perkins agent what to ask or what to say at any point during this Perkins operation in Washington?
No.
Did Mr. Austin, in the conversations he had with the Perkins agent, tell the Perkins agent that he didn't really know the woman, but he knew who she was?
Yes.
And did he also, in his interview with you and Detective Byers, state the same? He didn't know the defendant. In other words, he wasn't friends with her. He never went anywhere with her, but that he knew who she was.
Objection, argumentative.
That's all. It's all rule.
Yes.
And did he also indicate that it wasn't just one time that he had met the defendant, but in fact, not only did he play racquetball with her at the gym, but that he also went to her home with Baker?
Yes.
And did he discuss that with you during the interview in Vancouver, Washington?
Yes.
Did Austin also tell the Perkins agent, when the Perkins agent asked what the reason was for the murder of Fabio Sementilli, that it was insurance money?
Yes.
And in fact, did he bring that up all on his own without any prompting from anybody?
Yes.
And did he also indicate to the Perkins agent that Mr. Baker told him that the victim in this case was an abusive husband?
Yes.
And when counsel asked you about the term, they want the big fish, did Mr. Austin say, she is the one who set this up?
I don't
Or
remember.
words to that effect?
Sounds familiar, but I don't remember his exact words.
Next line, page.
I'm not quoting from the transcript, counsel. Now, when Mr. Austin asked you what he needed to do to go home, and you told him that you would sit down with him and have a conversation, did you and your partner indeed do that?
Yes, we did.
And did you tell him that he was not going to be allowed to go home because he was going to be extradited to California to face charges in this case?
We told him he was being arrested for the warrant, that he was not going home.
At any point in time, did you, your partner, Ms. Stagel, any of you ever say to Mr. Austin, if you tell us certain things, we'll let you go home?
No.
At any point in time, did you or anybody with you tell Mr. Austin anything other than the fact that he was being arrested and brought to Los Angeles?
We never told him anything other than that.
When Mr. Austin brought up the insurance money during his conversation with the Perkins agent, do you recall his answer when the Perkins agent asked how much insurance?
I don't remember.
I'm going to refer you to page 123 of the Perkins transcript.
Line.
Yes, starting from the top of the page. Down to approximately line 20. Let me know when you've read that.
Okay, I've refreshed my recollection.
Okay. And did Mr. Austin indicate that he wasn't going to get any of the insurance money?
He did.
And did he also say that he was mad that he was even a part of the conspiracy?
He did.
Objection, misstates the evidence, and
Overruled.
misstates the statement.
Actually, I'll read it to you. On line 1, the Perkins agent asked how much insurance, correct?
Yes.
And on line 2, Mr. Austin said, I didn't. I wasn't going to get any of that. And I'm mad that I was even a part of it. Is that what he said?
Correct.
And then did Mr. Austin go on after the Perkins agent said you wasn't going to get any of it? What the fuck? And Mr. Austin said, I just didn't believe it until it hits to the thing. I just don't believe it. And the Perkins agent asked, did your uncle get any of the money? And Mr. Austin responded, I don't think so. Correct?
That's correct.
And the Perkins agent asked how long after his uncle had gone to jail, and Austin said a few months.
Correct.
And then Austin, on his own, without the Perkins agent saying anything about the lady or any other term referring to the defendant, didn't Austin say, yeah, they both got locked up?
Yes.
So again, during the Perkins operation, Austin is telling the Perkins agent that he's aware the defendant and Mr. Baker were both involved in this conspiracy to commit murder.
Yes.
And on the following page, did Mr. Austin also describe for the Perkins agent how it was that Fabio Sementilli was murdered?
I'm sorry, what page?
124.
May I refresh my recollection?
On my transcript, it starts on line 15 through the end of the page. Does that refresh your recollection as to Mr. Austin describing for the agent how the victim in this case died?
Yes.
And in there, did he say the victim was stabbed in the neck?
He did.
And the Perkins agent asked him how many times? 1 time? And Austin said, I think 3 times. Correct?
Correct.
And then after saying, I think 3 times, is that when the Perkins agent asked him if he also stabbed the victim in the neck?
Yes.
And in response, did Mr. Austin say once?
Yes.
And after that, did the Perkins agent ask who stabbed the victim the rest of the times? And Austin said he did, meaning the uncle.
Correct.
And did Mr. Austin also talk to the Perkins agent about how he was first introduced to the defendant?
I don't remember, ma'am.
Okay. Referring you to page 150. About halfway down the page. does that refresh your recollection about how Baker introduced him to the defendant?
Yes.
And did Christopher Austin tell the Perkins agent that I know he introduced me as, to help her with racquetball. It's business. And then they got a little flirty, but that's grown shit. Like, that's none of my business.
That's what he said.
And then on the following page, did the Perkins agent state to Mr. Austin that Baker must really have liked this bitch?
I believe so.
And did Mr. Austin indicate he used to? He used to.
Yes.
So again, just to be clear, during the Perkins operation and the interview, Austin was able to recount at least 2 different occasions where he was introduced to the defendant, although he claims he still doesn't really know her.
Correct.
When counsel asked you about Austin never saying that he spoke to the defendant except when he went to the house, Mr. Austin also indicated he spoke to the defendant when they played racquetball and when he was introduced to her at the gym, correct?
Yes.
During the interview with Christopher Austin, did he also mention to you about going to Las Vegas with Baker and staying with Al Birdsong?
Yes.
Once he was brought out to Los Angeles and interviewed, was it only then that he went into the details of what happened during that July trip?
Yes.
Now, at the point in time where DA Heather Stagel spoke to Austin, that was already at the end of the interview, correct?
Yes, it was pretty far after we had interviewed him.
So you were done with your interview at that point when she comes in?
Yes.
And was she brought in only after Mr. Austin indicated that he wanted to speak to the DA?
Yes.
Okay. And then at some point, after Ms. Stagel came in to speak to Austin at his request, did Mr. Austin then indicate that he needed some time to think?
Yes.
And at that point, did Ms. Stagel leave the room?
I believe so, yes.
And then at some point after that, did he ask you to bring her back into the room so he could speak with her again?
Yes.
And again, both of those times, that was after your interview with Austin. You and your partner, Detective Byers, were finished interviewing him.
Correct.
So there was no more stimulation when you put Austin back into his cell after you were done interviewing him, correct?
Correct.
Objection, this states the evidence.
It's overruled.
Whether or not he continued to talk to the Perkins agent at that point, that was subsequent to your interview, and you did not conduct any further interviews of him at that point.
Correct.
And when you told Mr. Austin that you felt bad that Baker and Monica got him wrapped up in this murder, that was based on what he had told you and your partner about what had happened. Is that correct?
Correct.
And in fact, were you being genuine with him, or were you lying to him when you said that?
Oh,
Objection irrelevant.
Overruled.
I was being genuine.
In fact, you called me to tell me while I was in trial here about what had happened, correct?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
Did you call me after the Perkins and the interview with Mr. Austin?
Yes.
Irrelevant.
Sustained.
And when the name Monica was brought up, at that point, did Mr. Austin indicate, I think that's her name? Again, indicating that he doesn't know this woman well.
Objection. Argumentative as the last portion.
Sustained.
Did he indicate that he did not know this woman well, although he had been introduced to her, played racquetball with her, and was at her house one night for dinner?
Yes.
At the point in time where the Perkins agent said, if she gets off, she'll get the insurance money, again, was that after the point in time when Mr. Austin told the Perkins agent why this murder occurred?
Yes.
That it was for insurance money?
Yes.
During the conversation Austin had with the Perkins agent in the cell, in addition to the insurance money and the things that Baker told him about why they were committing this murder, did he also tell the Perkins agent about the use of burner phones?
I don't remember, ma'am.
I'm going to direct you to page 122, middle of the page.
This is in the Perkins?
Yes,
Page, please.
I just said 122, about half of the way down the page. Apropos of nothing relating to the Perkins agent, did Mr. Austin tell the Perkins agent, burner phones and everything? And the Perkins agent said, huh? Austin said, burner phones and everything. They recounted everything. And Perkins agent said, you serious? And Austin said, conversation. I was honest.
Yes.
And did he indeed mention the fact that there, or did you talk to him about the fact that you were aware, you and your partner, that burner phones were used?
We did.
Okay. And so was that discussed with Mr. Austin in Washington State and then in more detail when he was brought out to Los Angeles?
Yes.
Also, did Mr. Austin indicate to you during your interview in Washington State that he had met the defendant prior to the time of the murder?
Yes.
Did he tell you even then that he did not have a recollection of meeting with the defendant when he and Baker traveled to Las Vegas in July of 2016?
He did not remember.
At any point in time during the interview or the Perkins operation, did you mention anything about the attempted murder of Fabio Sementilli the day prior to his death?
Objection asked.
Overruled.
I did not know anything about that during our interview with him in Washington. That was information that was new to me when we sat down for the proffered statement.
During the interview with you, when you spoke about both his Uncle Baker and the defendant, did Austin once again, just like he told the Perkins agent, tell you and your partner that he had seen the defendant before, but he doesn't know her?
Correct.
During the interview, did Austin also tell you that he had been to her house approximately maybe 7 months before the murder?
Yes.
Did he also...
I'm sorry, could we vote?
All right.
Again, during the interview that you had with Austin in Vancouver, Washington, when you asked him when it was that they went to the defendant's home, did Mr. Austin indicate to you that it was around 7 months prior to the murder?
Yeah.
Sustained.
Did Mr. Austin indicate that at that period of time, he did not know what the extent of their relationship was?
Objection, misstates the evidence.
Overruled. Overruled.
On page 36, does Mr. Austin say to you and your partner, I didn't know who I didn't ask no questions. And then your partner said, Detective Byers said, so you didn't know? And Mr. Austin responded, I didn't know what the extent of the relationship was. Exactly what I just stated, correct?
Yes.
And then he was asked, were they an item? How did they interact? And he said they talked, correct?
Yes.
And going on to the next page, he indicated that they talked across the counter, they do little giggles, they talked about the gym, and then I remember blanking them out, correct?
Yes.
And then Mr. Austin went on to say it seemed like it was business at first, right?
Yes, business at first.
And then Detective Byers asked, what would be the business of inviting two gentlemen to her house? And Mr. Austin, do you remember what his response was?
Yes.
What was that?
It was none of my business, meaning none of his business.
And then did he go on saying, oh, they're about to, do a little kissy-kissy here and there, but to what extent, I don't know.
Yes.
During the same interview in Washington, did Mr. Austin tell you and your partner that Baker had sent him money to fly to Los Angeles in January of 2017?
Yes.
Did Mr. Austin tell you during his interview in Washington State that on the 23rd, he and Baker were going back to the same house where he had had dinner with Baker and the defendant?
Yes.
During the interview with Mr. Austin, did he also indicate that Baker had given him gold coins from the home?
Objection. Your Honor.
It's overruled.
He did.
Did he also tell you during the interview that Baker told him that she said he's in the house as to when was the appropriate time to go to the house in order to kill Fabio Sementilli?
He did.
Did he also tell you during the interview that Baker went on to say, she says he's in the house, like, let's go?
Yes.
Did he also tell you during that same interview that Baker parked the car somewhere and the two of them ran from there?
Yes.
And that Baker told him to follow him?
Yes.
When they left the crime scene, did he also, just as he did during his interview here in November of last year, indicate that Baker dropped him off and then picked him up in the neighborhood?
Yes.
Your Honor.
It's overruled.
Yes.
When he talked about the gold coins, did he tell you in Washington State that they were gold coins from the victim's collection?
Objection. Asked and answered.
It's overruled. This goes directly to prior consistent statements.
Yes.
During his interview with you, your partner, and later when Ms. Stagel came in subsequent to the interview, did he reiterate, Mr. Austin, that Baker told him when was the time to go up there because she told him, meaning Baker, she was gone?
Yes.
Did he also indicate to you towards the end before he was placed back in his cell in front of Miss Stagel, that Baker had been on his phone talking and texting.
Yes.
Did he also tell you that he was doing that all the time, but it seemed like he was getting all the information from her?
That's what he said.
Did he also tell you that although he had seen her, he didn't really talk to her?
Correct.
Did he also tell you that he watched when Baker and the defendant were playing racquetball together, and he thought that Baker was training her?
I believe so, yes.
Do you have a doubt in your mind?
If you could tell me.
Sure.
Tell
Page
me,
96 of your interview transcript?
just so I could be sure.
Yes.
And what line am I looking at?
It would be towards the end of the page. And they were playing racquetball together. The sentence starts.
Oh,
Did you find that?
yes,
Did he indeed say that?
he did.
Towards the end of the page is already.
And subsequent to that, is that when Ms. Stagel chimed in and asked about the racquetball lady?
Yes,
Because of the fact that he had said they were playing racquetball and thought he was training her.
yes,
And after that, immediately after that, when Austin was asked when the first time was that he heard about her, did Austin say, in conversations, when I was in Alaska and I would call to check on him?
yes,
Was he also asked at that point in time when he knew her name? And he responded, did you know it, Ms. Stagel asked, did you know it after everything happened? And Austin said, no, I knew it before. But like I said, the remembering of who she was, what her name was, didn't reveal because he had been talking to a few other women.
What page is that, ma'am? Sorry.
This would be going on from 96 into 97 and 98. And he said, I only got the description of the racquetball, the one I trained racquetball. Did you find that?
Yeah,
Did you find where he said he knew her name before the murder?
can you direct me to a line? I'm sorry.
Sure. My transcript might be 5 lines off from yours.
Okay, I found it.
You see that?
Yes,
And
Yep.
Mr. Austin was indicated that he knew her name before.
yes,
And did he also indicate on the following page that he knew it in 2016 when he was still living in Alaska?
yes,
did he also reiterate during your interview that Mr. Baker said, "We're going to go up to a thing, I gotta call"?
Yes.
And did he go on to say, it's like, "Remember the girl, what about her?" He's like, "Yeah, her husband's there, he's home"?
Yes.
And then did he go on to tell you that he believed, Mr. Austin believed, the woman called him and told him, and then Baker told Austin?
Yes.
And did Miss Stagel also ask Mr. Austin, did he tell you, she said he's home now, and Mr. Austin answered yeah?
Yes.
Did Austin go on to describe what was said? Yeah. He's like, he's home now. I was like, are you sure?
Yes, that's what he said.
Did he repeat that same phrase several times? She told him, meaning Baker, that the victim basically was home.
Objection, misstates the evidence.
Overruled.
Yes.
And did Ms. Stagel also ask, so you knew it was Monica on page 124, and Austin said, I figured it was.
Okay. Yes, that's what he said.
And did he also tell you the house that they went to commit the murder was the same house he had been brought to by Baker 7 months prior?
Yes.
And he showed you that house again a couple weeks ago, correct?
Yes. He recognized it, yes.
I have nothing further.
Any recross?
Yes, briefly. Detective, isn't it a fact?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I have one more thing.
Quick.
Two exhibits, actually. May they be marked, please, as People's 259.
No.
60?
260. What is the item, please?
4 pages of an extract, 2 different extracts from the defendant's phone.
That'd be 260.
Thank you. The first page, 260. 4 pages in total, Your Honor. Showing you this timeline here. Is this something that you looked up this weekend from the defendant's cell phone?
Yes.
Tell us, it looks like you searched for
So when Ms. Silverman asked you, didn't he tell you and Detective Byers that he had not only met Monica at her house, but that he had actually played racquetball with her at the gym, that was incorrect.
Well, it's my impression was that he had an interaction with her at the gym in the racquetball realm of some sort. Whether he played with her, I don't know.
Well, you know what he told you, and he told you that he met her at the gym and saw Baker talking to Monica.
Correct.
And that he understood that they played racquetball together, meaning he and Mr. Baker and Monica.
I'm going to jump this since that's not evidence.
Overruled.
Yes.
And when the prosecutor asked you about the Perkins agent telling Christopher Austin that they wanted the big fish, and that Austin had somehow responded by saying that she, referring to Monica, is the one who set this up. He never said that when the Perkins agent said they want the big fish, did he?
I don't think so.
And when Mr. Austin confessed to you in the interview with Detective Byers, he told you many different stories about how he had committed the murder with Baker, correct?
Not sure of your question. Many different stories in what regard?
Well, first of all, he told you there was only one knife involved, correct?
Yes, in the interview. There's been so many, well, there's been an interview and then the proffer. I'm trying to refresh my recollection. Yes, I believe he did not, he indicated one knife.
And then in the proffer, he started talking about two knives, correct?
Yes.
And in the interview, he gave you this whole story about how it was in the car when he and Baker were driving over to the house that he first said, we're going to go up there and do this.
The knife was in the car?
He said
Is that what
as
you're
well.
asking?
Yes.
Yes.
And in fact, when he changed his story in the proffer for his deal, he started talking about this story about how Baker had put him in the trunk.
Objection argumentative.
Sustained.
Did Christopher Austin tell you a story about Baker having put him in the trunk on the ride over to the Sementilli house at the time of the murder?
Objection argumentative.
Sustained.
Did Christopher Austin not testify here that he was in the trunk of the car when Baker brought him over to commit the murder?
He did testify to that, yes.
But in Washington, he told you this story about conversations he and Baker were having in the car ride on the way over to the house.
Objection.
Sustained.
Did Mr. Austin, in the interview in Washington, tell you that he had had conversations with Baker about going up to the house as they were driving over to the house?
I don't remember if that was in the car or before. If you would like me to look at the interview and tell me where I can find that, then I would refresh my recollections. I don't remember where the conversations he referenced took place, whether they were in the car or not.
Let me try this way. Isn't it a fact that Mr. Austin never said a word to you in Washington State about Baker putting him in the trunk of the car and driving over to the house in the trunk of the car?
That is correct.
And isn't it true that Mr. Austin told you in Washington that the knife he used in the murder was in the car?
Yes.
And when Ms. Silverman is asking you about statements that Austin made while he was in Washington with you and being interviewed and speaking to the Perkins agent, isn't it true that he only said that he figured it was Monica who was talking to Baker when he told Austin he's alone at the house?
Objection cumulative.
Oh.
Yes.
And isn't it true it was Austin who repeatedly told you in Washington that he just believed it must have been Monica who was talking to Robert Baker about going up to the house.
Same
Yeah.
objection.
We're starting to get there. I'll allow this question.
Yes.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Nothing further, no.
Anything further by the people?
No, thank you.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down. All right, let's go to lunch. The admonition applies. See you back here at 1:30. Have a good lunch. Counsel, you can remain momentarily, please. And also present. Do we continue with Detective Roberts now?
Yes.
Detective Roberts, please do take the stand. You're still under oath. Wow. And the team may continue with the direct examination.
Thank you. Your Honor, there is a stipulation that was previously marked as People's 236 that dealt with voicemails and calls by the defendant to Procter and Gamble, and I was told that I needed to correct some information on the document. The exhibit is People's 236. The recorded voicemails are contained within People's 158, which is the flash drive. The 34-second long message identified as Exhibit 237 was recorded actually on May 10th of 2017. This has to be a second. And this particular call came from the Sementilli residence at 818-854-6. Information as to the other two phone calls in Exhibits 239 and 241 having occurred on March 9th of 2017 are correct.
Very good.
Thank you.
Is that the understanding of the defense?
Yes.
Thank you. Proceed.
Thank you. Detective, did you obtain emails regarding the victim's upcoming trip to Boston from his email account?
If I can interrupt you, shortly, please forgive me. Ms. Stego, can you lift up the projector? Because that's what's keeping everything from going on.
Thank you. These trips, starting from Los Angeles to Boston and then on to Toronto before returning to Los Angeles, with him scheduled to leave on Saturday, January 28th of 2017 from Alicia Truesdale. Did you review that documentation?
Yes.
Your Honor, can I have this marked, please? This itinerary is People's 261. It's 2 pages in it.
Yes.
Showing you a reservation for Fabio Sementilli arranged by Alicia Truesdale. Is this the documentation that you reviewed regarding Mr. Sementilli's upcoming business trip at the end of January, returning to Los Angeles on February 6th,
Yes, it is.
2017? Thank you. Additionally, Your Honor, I have a 2-page document for Mr. Austin's burner phone number 314. This two-page document be marked, please, as People's 262.
Yes.
Showing you the first page.
2 seconds, Counsel.
Looking at this document, have you reviewed this before?
Yes.
And is this a document pertaining to a call detail record for Christopher Austin's burner phone that you testified to last week?
Yes.
And do we also see information on here with respect to the number 747-888-21 identified as a burner phone belonging to Robert Baker?
Correct.
All right. Now, did you also review a jail call that was dated January 6th of 2018 from the defendant to Robert Baker's step-sister or daughter by the name of April Forte?
I believe April is Robert Baker's, he calls her aunt, but I don't think they're related by blood.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry, sister, but I don't think they're related by blood.
Okay. And did you review the call between the defendant and April?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time we have the audio file, which is contained on People's 158, and a transcript relating to that call. Can this transcript be marked, please, as People's Exhibit 253? 263, and it's actually only a couple pages long. I think it's 4.
All right, so marked.
Yes, it is. Distribute.
Yes, and again, the same admonition applies.
I might need to get computer battery.
Hello. Hi, how are you? Okay. They calling? Okay. Someone called about 2 minutes ago. Was that you? I called at 3 o'clock, so I wasn't sure if I said 3 or 3:30. Okay. Did you call like 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago? Yeah. Okay, well, I'm not sure. You're not the only call like that. Alright, he was a little, I can tell when I gave him the information he was there. So, I don't know if he's working on what he needs to work on, but I haven't heard from him. Okay, did he say he's going to come back at 3:30? Well, based on the information that you gave me, about him having calling to other meetings, maybe he's unable to, but I did give him the message. Did he say that it happened to him too? Did they go through his cell? No, nothing happened. And he said, that's good. He said, I hope that he's just not let them spook her. You know, like spook her.
No, they didn't spook me, but they spooked everybody else around me. All my, bunkmates and friends around me. They told them that if they're, helping me in any way or hiding any of my mail or anything like that they're going to be an accessory. So now they're all mad at me, and I'm afraid I'm going to end up with black eye here. So I'm trying to be very careful. And
This call is being recorded.
I'm just trying to say to myself, but the pen pal that he writes to here for me, not to write to her anymore because she won't accept the mail anymore.
Okay.
I'll have to find another one. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I just not to give you any details, but I just told him not to write to him anymore until further notice.
I really wanted to talk to him. I hope he calls in. I'm going to try. If he does, I'll try again at 7 o'clock tonight, okay?
Okay, all right.
If you hear from him, tell him to call me at 7. Because he told me he does have other numbers to use, but he would have to call you collect. And I don't know if he can do that.
I don't even know how you do that collect, so he doesn't get anything. So,
Okay, when he comes back, if nothing happens in his cell, just tell him to get rid of everything that I sent. And if nothing happened, that's fine because they didn't end up finding any of his mail in my box because I hid it, so they didn't find it anyway. But he can't write to the same person anymore. I have to get a new one and then give you that message, and then he can write to the new one.
okay, but
And I'm okay, and he has to do the same because I know the person I write to there is gone to prison, so he has to give me somewhere to write.
Okay, all right. You just wanted me to tell you that he lost it.
Oh, I know him too, and they destroyed my whole bunk, and I thought they did the same to him. Tell him that they took nothing, they didn't find anything, so that's good, but they spooked everyone else, and so now they're all upset with me, and I'm just afraid for my safety. I might have to move modules, I'm not sure.
Okay, all right.
Just let him know I'm strong, I'm okay, I just want to know if they did the same thing to his cell, and if they didn't, just to get rid of whatever. And somehow get me a new address to write to, and I'll write to him. But I'll call you. I'll check in tonight at 7, or else again on Wednesday, maybe around 11 or 12.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you so much for helping me. Thank you. Okay.
I'll talk to Mark.
Now, did you also review the cell phone extraction for Robert Baker's cell phone, his Samsung item number 121, regarding any activity or registration through an application called Lifestyle Lounge?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did you find based on records that were subpoenaed from Lifestyle Lounge?
That Robert Baker did have a Lifestyle Lounge account.
And that he was registered for that account in November of 2016?
Correct.
Thank you.
With a distinctive username.
And was it registered to his apartment on Independence?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have 7 pages relating to documents received pursuant to a warrant to AT&T for mobility and other records. May they please be marked as People's 264.
Yes.
Showing you the first page. Records from AT&T that include mobility information with cell location,
looking here where it's highlighted the date of May 18th of 2017. Do you see that?
Yes.
And looking across at this information here, along with the second page, which is from the defendant's cell phone extraction, item 119, under the DR for the murder of Fabio Sementilli. Do you see where it's highlighted in blue?
Yes.
I'm going to object. There's no foundation for this.
So rule.
Looking over at the body of the message, do you recognize what you see here?
I do.
And what is that?
This is a message that is sent out to Monica's cell phone whenever that closet mirror that is protecting the safe is opened.
The one in the master bedroom closet?
Correct.
And in terms of the date of May 18th of 2017 at 11:18 a.m., is that the same date as the interview that took place that you reviewed of the defendant at her home between Detective Parshall and Detectives Tellis and Gable when they went through the home?
Yes, when they were used the ruse of the knock-knock investigation.
Okay. So there's an instant message, it looks like, that's sent to the phone as she talked about during that interview, correct?
Correct.
Showing you the third page. At the bottom, dated June 14, 2017, the date of the service of a search warrant subsequent to the arrest of the defendant. Do you recognize this as the defendant's cell phone number?
I do.
And once again, is there a message or an alert that's sent to her cell phone during the service of the warrant?
There is.
Showing you the fourth page, again, same date, same range of hours during the service of the warrant. Is this, again, messages that are being sent from the opening of that mirror to the defendant's cell phone?
Yes, you can identify that specific communication by that originating number, 35433.
And that shows up on each of the records, correct?
Yes,
As coming from AT&T.
correct.
And again, showing you the fifth page over to the right, the body of the message. Once again, during the service of the search warrant, does it indicate that that closet mirror was opened on that date, June 14th of 2017, at approximately 3:37 in the afternoon?
Yes, it was.
Showing you the sixth page regarding the history of the messages from the mirror. Does it have that same code that you referred to coming in from AT&T, 35433?
It does.
And then the last page for the date of the murder, does it have that same code?
It does.
And when you looked, when you convert this time, is this 2:03 in the afternoon?
Correct.
When you look back at the defendant's cell phone extraction, just like we saw for other dates, such as May 18th or June 14th, was there anything
in the cell phone extraction of her phone showing that she received that communication on the date of the murder?
There was not.
Does that indicate that she deleted that message from her phone?
Objection, no foundation.
Sustained at this point.
Did it indicate that that message had been deleted from the phone since it existed on all of the other dates?
Same objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Now, the last time that you were on the stand, we played a lockup over here from the date of June 29th of 2017. Do you recall that?
I do.
And in that recording, there was a mention of a person by the name of John Stanley. Do you remember that?
I do.
Your Honor, I have a 2-page cell phone extraction for the date of February 22nd of 2017 from the defendant's Apple iPhone. Can it be marked, please, as People's 265?
Yes.
Showing you number 1, column 1, dated February 22nd, 2017 at 10:25 at night. Did you review the cell phone extraction showing that the defendant was researching the name JohnStanleyLaw.com?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation that the defendant is researching.
Sustained.
Did you review her cell phone extraction?
I did.
And is this what you found for that date and time?
Yes, I did.
And did you yourself look up John Stanley?
I did.
And what did you find?
Objection, no foundation.
That's over. It's over.
He is a criminal defense attorney located in the San Fernando Valley.
Your Honor, at this point, we are going to play the remaining jail over here. Is I think they're an hour and a half, perhaps, in length for all of the remaining ones.
All right.
Can we pass out the transcripts?
Right. These are the ones that it's already marked as in 158?
Yes.
Very good. You should have a transcript marked.
Yes.
That's
There
260.
are 5 more.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'll be separate.
I take it they're going to be separate transcripts?
Yes.
The 6, 7, 8, 9, and 270?
I think there's only 5 left.
That would be 5. When you're handing out is 266, is that correct? Very well.
sent you a lot of shit.
I know, the last thing I got was July 27th, you dated it.
How many pages was it altogether?
I just got it last night at 10:30 or
What the
9:00.
fuck? I sent that shit 2 weeks ago.
I sent you stuff a month ago. Did you get it all?
I got the one dated, put it this way, you haven't written since, have you?
The last time I wrote was the 20-something.
Okay.
Did you get the tattoo design?
No. No.
You did it?
No, not yet.
I sent that on the 20th.
Okay, I should be getting that then. I sent
I
you.
have a lot of stuff to give you.
I do. I'm gonna try to shoot it to you. Okay, hang on. You look good.
You look good.
I miss you, baby. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. I'm gonna send you something. I want you to read it. It's two pages are really important. Okay.
I have stuff for you too, but you have to flush it.
Boy, we think alike. All right, I'm gonna try to send it to you in a minute. Hang on.
Okay. I even brought you coffee and Snickers.
Thank you, baby. I don't need it, but thank you.
I wonder if this can reach there.
Hang on. Hey.
Hey. Oh, I got it. Hold on. Oh my God.
At least you're gonna get all my letters. The ones that are wrapped.
This is big. Okay, got it.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I can read these.
Oh, okay.
Read them in order.
Do what?
Read them in order.
All right, I will do. Read the ones that says "for your eyes only" first. They're X's. They have X's on them.
Okay.
Then do what you just said I should do.
Okay.
Hey, that's some scary shit that you rewrite. Okay. Just the main two. The other ones you can read later. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
You finished reading?
Almost.
Okay.
Did you read mine?
Alright, what'd you say?
Hold on, babe. Hold on.
Okay. is that?
I'm telling you, this is fucking weird. Did you read mine?
Yes, it said the same shit.
Yeah.
There is no deal to be made because we didn't do shit, so
Yeah.
so there's nothing.
Did you read all of it?
I did, yeah, it was just two pages, right?
No. Read everything that's in there.
Okay, I'm gonna keep reading.
Okay.
I only read 4 pages of that part.
Okay. No, there's a little more.
Let me go back and read it
Okay.
so I can reflect it.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, hang on.
I can't believe you didn't get my tattoo design.
I did get it. No, I didn't get it yet. I'm glad I did it.
Oh my God! How the hell did you do this?
It's only temporary for you.
How did you do
Does it fit?
this? It's big.
We'll make a little something, make it fit. Hang on, let me finish doing what I'm doing real quick, okay?
Okay. Let me finish reading.
Oh my God, I love it.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Okay, done. That was in the letter.
I'm still reading it. I haven't read
No, it wasn't the letter that I sent 2 weeks ago.
I didn't get it then.
Them fuckers are probably, I don't give a fuck. I write shit to them in the letter.
Well, no, if you read my letters, it says that my lawyer says they are reading them and keeping them.
Yep.
So it took a month for you to get my first letters. So the ones I sent on the 20th, you won't probably get for a while.
Every other day, I'm just gonna send a letter. I don't give a fuck.
No, now you can't. Just read my letters right now.
All of them?
Just read it right now.
All of them?
Yeah, it's gonna tell you what to do.
Okay. There's a lot of reading. I wanted to talk to you.
We'll talk. We're gonna be here all day, baby. I think.
I don't know, but yeah, I know.
I just don't know. We can't talk about that.
I know. I'll only say one thing about one thing. I told my lawyer I wanted to see everything they have.
Yeah, we have a private room.
Yeah.
So I get to actually go in. It's not like behind the glass.
Yeah, me too.
And so up to now it's been all some video and some text and some writing.
Yeah.
And we're going to be working on it all week. So
yeah, he and I too. He's booked up all month.
Yeah.
So don't be in a big rush right now because I need to see everything. I haven't, there's nothing.
I'm not. I mean, I'm listen. He said that we're probably tried separately.
I figured that.
But I don't know. So today is just to pick a day, right? I don't think we're doing anything today.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. He said it's supposed to be a preliminary.
No, if everybody's ready.
Yeah, he's not ready. My guys.
Then they might just do me or another day within 10 days of today.
Yeah, because he says that your lawyer's not really going along with his dates. I don't want him to rush him because I need to see everything. There's some stuff I want to see. Everything. I just want to see it all. And there's some things I need to look at.
Read my letters.
Oh.
I check your books all the time.
We don't have that there.
I know. That's what I figured because I ordered you stuff. I ordered you Snickers and all that stuff.
You ordered me Snickers?
And then my friend told me, don't, because he won't get his bell sheet if you order on a kiosk. So I had to erase it all.
I'll read it.
I miss you.
You like your present?
I do. I love it. I don't know. Are they going to take this away from me?
Put it in your hand.
Are they going to take it away from me?
Put it in your hand.
They will take it, though.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's going to fall right off.
So get something and tie it up. Or put it, so far, I've put it in an envelope, and every time I put it in an envelope, in letters, it gets through no problem.
Okay, so I'll keep it in this envelope.
Yep.
When I go through the...
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, go read my letters, and I'll read this. Yeah, and that's why I thought, I've been writing to you all week, and I thought, I'm just going to give it to them there, because you're not going to get it for another month.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm gonna keep writing, baby. I don't give a fuck.
No, you can't.
What do you mean? I'm not writing anything bad. The same stuff I always write. Nothing bad. Nothing, you know. You want me to write you, I'm gonna write you.
Stop it. I want you to, but you shouldn't. Until I say, until you hear from me. But then you don't hear from me for like a month.
Then if I know that you're sending, a letter every 2 or 3 days, I know it'll eventually come. Mainly, I don't care if you send me, because I sent you an encrypted, it didn't say.
Okay, that short little note you sent me.
Yeah.
Came before all of them.
Yeah,
that was sent July 13th.
Yeah, that was first.
No, because then I got letters from June 30th.
Yeah, but I held that. I didn't send it because I was writing those letters.
I thought they were holding it.
No. I sent the
well, mine they were holding because you should have gotten it. I did a nice design. Mine says RB on it.
I gotta look at it. It'll be here hopefully
On
soon.
my finger.
But I figured when I saw you today, you would like for that and
Love it.
the other thing.
You look good. Did you read the part about the...
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you read it?
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Hey. One way or another.
I felt so much better.
Don't worry, baby. Don't you worry. Resolute.
Yeah. Me too.
And don't. You read my letter, you understood me. So now you're clear. Got it? I even said that we think so much alike. It's fucking scary.
Wait till you finish reading my letter. You're gonna say, how the fuck does she know? It's so funny. And when I opened yours last night at 10:30 or 11, I don't know why the mail came so late. My friend got up and after I read it, I said, everything he wrote in this letter, I have on all the pages I just sent you. I didn't even see them yet. The reason why I want you to finish reading is because there's more you have to flush.
Okay, alright, I'll read it.
Got it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Just finish reading because you got to flush.
Alright. Is it the last one you wrote? Was it the last one you wrote?
I don't know. It's all mixed up in there.
What the fuck? Alright.
I'm going to read too. Oh my God.
I just read it. I just read the part you want to use.
Okay.
Put the book down.
Oh, yeah, I think it's better. So what do you know about me? I have no clue you know.
What?
Hold on. Okay, man. Right.
Don't say I'm crazy. You don't have many opportunities. We may not even have an opportunity, so that's why I say when we do it.
Of course we do.
See, you get all the good stuff. I think of everything. Even when I write you, I even break it off so that it's not all intermixed. And I don't know. Of course, you're going to try to use anything, but think about what's been said in the letters. Nothing. It's nothing.
You don't understand what I'm trying to say. I can't say it out loud. How does it look, me writing to you, after they told me they found your DNA?
Well, you already explained to me.
I know that, and that for me and you, that's fine, but not for a jury.
Well, I have a plan. You're gonna love it. I wish I could tell you. But if they take it all that far, I'm gonna blast them. I'm gonna use their own system to do it. I stay up at night thinking about it, all kinds of stuff. I want to tell you, you wouldn't even tell me that's genius. So, I'm gonna. I know what they're saying, but again, they're just trying to get you to stop. They just don't want you to take a chance. That's all that is. My lawyer tells me the same shit. Tells me the same shit. I already told him, it ain't gonna stop, man. Just move on. I won't. I'm gonna stay away from discussing anything about this thing at all. What I don't know or do know, it's not even being brought up. We just keep each other moving. And I'm like, let's move on and you leave it alone. I don't like it. I know you don't, but we gotta deal with it. I said, this is our way of making sure we're good. That she's okay, I'm okay. I said, this ain't, this thing is out of control. So, if you can find another way, you gotta remember, even if you send it to another person, it comes in, it's still being checked. And copied.
The last one I sent, she wrote to you as a pen pal, and you're supposed to write back to that address.
I can.
From someone else's name.
But when they did it, they cut it off at the top, so I don't know if I didn't see the address.
It's in the letter.
Okay, alright, cool.
We'll probably get it, because I didn't hear from you yet, and I was really worried.
Yeah, no, I'm 100. I'm 100.
And it's written by her. So you should respond with someone else's.
That's tough. Because my problem is I don't trust the soul.
Yeah.
I don't, did you see that, well, you read it, that they had people on our shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, I know.
And, he was trying to say that, I basically told him, hey dude, stop talking to me. I already know. But we're so in sync, this shit is fucking scary. But don't let them scare you like that, dude. I understand. And I even mentioned the part about the family. I even mentioned that too. I can only imagine.
It's really heavy.
I can only imagine. But you know what? No matter what happens, no matter what, you already know this. I'm there. I wrote everything in that letter that I meant. There's 7 billion people on this planet, baby. I don't think there's 2 people who are going through this shit like us.
Mm-hmm. I said the same thing.
This is just crazy unique. And you know, I don't want to watch my verbiage because we're probably being recorded, but we are unique. And can nobody understand this but you and I. You're the only one who understands me. You know what I know what you're going through. You know what I'm going through. So it makes us unique. So, yeah, and every time I read the letter I have to laugh because when I read it, it looks like I wrote it. and you know, the police know what talking to each other. They know that.
Yeah.
They keep putting us in the same spot.
So my lawyer got a court order today for you not to be near me, so you couldn't talk to me, and we're still here. So
why would you do that?
He doesn't want you talking to me.
What is it? What do you mean?
Well, when you finish reading, you'll see. But anyway, incredible.
I'm gonna read it, but I didn't see it. I may have flushed it because I was trying to scan it. I wasn't rushing in. But I'll check it again. I kept the other stuff. That's you know, you're the only one who can stop that. Okay, he's your lawyer, man.
No, I know that, but I can't say it.
I'll read it.
It's fine. It's gonna be fine. I told you I'll always find a way, so don't worry about it.
Alright. I want you to try a way that's going to get you jammed up somehow.
No, it's not.
You always say that.
It's not.
It gets complicated.
I told him already. My lawyer.
Yeah, he said what?
He said he knows how I feel, but he's just telling me, his advice. That's it.
And you just tell him your advice is appreciated, and let's move forward. I understand that.
It's just, my family knows I'm writing to you or receiving your mail.
Why? How do they know that?
I don't know how they know that, or if they even know, but they will know because they are using our letters. They're going to use that.
Okay.
So they're going to know, and then...
Play it. Now, the only thing I can understand about that is the family aspect of that.
Yeah.
But as far as anything else, it's nothing.
No, nothing.
So if that's the problem, that's a different setup. And I understand it because I even put that in the letter.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. You can't imagine.
No, I can't. I know I can't. I know I can't.
Because they don't, they believe what the detectives told them.
Yeah.
So, my defending you is not enough for them.
I know. But there's nothing else. It's just nothing else. We'll leave it at that, but we'll leave it at that. So I don't know. So you don't want me to write you, I won't write you.
No, I do want you to write me, but just wait till you get mine first.
All right, I will.
Okay?
I'll just say what I have.
And I'm probably going to see you back here in a week or 10 days, so just bring it with you.
Unless they separate the case, then I'll see you again.
Oh, I don't think that's going to happen.
Hey. I love you and resolute. And nothing, your lies can't fuck with me, babe. They're bullshit. They can tell me you said and all that bullshit means nothing because I know that. And you know that you need to say, you need to understand that too. Yeah, when you read where they got it from.
Huh?
The images they got it from your stuff.
They told me from
Babe.
your iCloud.
I don't have iCloud.
I guess it's mine.
Yeah, I don't have iCloud.
Yeah. And I kept saying, I had to get lawyers for the kids. I had to get more estate lawyers to protect his all our assets because they want it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So everything's frozen. Can't even sell my house now. But now it's all going to change because I think it's going to be the way it's supposed to be.
I want you out of here. I'm okay. I'll be okay. I'll live. I want you out of here. You don't need to be here. I don't need either one of us, but especially you. So just be strong. I know you are.
Did you read the part about what's that?
Yeah, no.
What's that?
Actually, I did.
Okay.
I did, but nothing but I love you on it.
Yeah.
So, nothing there. Yeah.
And about the name they asked me about, the phone number?
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got that. You have no idea.
No, I don't. That's why I'm...
That's what I'm saying. No, you don't have no idea. Yeah. You have no idea what I know. There's a lot of mixed feelings out there, But that's a whole life.
Yeah.
It's time for a new one.
Yeah.
My new one's with my baby. You look good. You really look good. I got a chance to look at you like 100%. I'll remember that for the next 5 years as I'm fighting this case. The shit made me.
I'll remember that forever.
Huh?
I'll remember that forever.
I was told these kind of cases, which I knew that anyway, they drag and drag and drag. So I was kind of ready. I'm okay. I just want you to go home. Just don't forget about me. I have I'm working on it. I'll tell you a little bit more. But I have a guy who I was locked up with. He's a Filipino guy. He wants me to keep in contact with him. And he doesn't know anything about nothing, but he understands how the system is here. And he would probably let me use his number for us to drop messages. Meaning if you had an important message, every Friday you call that number and go, I'm fine. And that would be it. And I would go, I'm fine. He would probably even figure a way how we could three-way call. Anyway, I'm working on all that.
Okay.
So I'll let you know as time progresses. Yeah, my lawyer just said, he was just telling me what to expect today. What the deal was. So.
He told me again not to speak to you.
So,
they're recording all this.
You want to say that again?
He says they're recording all this, so don't.
No. Just tell me what to expect. It's public knowledge. There's nothing like no strategy or nothing like that.
I know. Just telling you what he said.
Just continue. Trust me. Say nothing and mean nothing. Don't be too. I appreciate it, baby, but I remember what I used to do for a living. Oh, I saw your arm. Here you go. So don't forget to take your ring and put it on your hair.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I'm surprised you didn't stop thinking of that.
I can just wear it.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, a lot of girls, they took my ring. They took my ring
when they processed you.
Yeah, but a lot of girls and they have their wedding bands on the rings because they don't come off.
Yeah.
So I was telling them it doesn't come off. You're so gorgeous, baby.
Oh, you just like me a little bit.
Oh my God.
This is like supercharged. It's weird, and I've never synced up like this with anybody. No, I read what you write, and I wrote it. And the same for you. You view what I write, and you wrote it. It's fucking weird.
Last night, it was right after my 9 o'clock
Coffee.
ritual that I do, that 9 p.m. ritual.
Yeah.
I finished writing a letter, put everything together, in the bag, got in my bed, and then she came around mail call. It was like 10:30 or something. And so my bunkie gets up, she's, what do you say, what do you say? And I said, shut up, read it. So I'm reading it, and everything that you're writing, I was like, I can't fucking, I just wrote this. He didn't even get my mail. How does he know how to write that?
I know. Trust me, I'm going through it with you. No. I want to type side by side with it, so I can't anymore. We're going to do this. I wish there was did you see the part when I told you I wish there was a way I could talk to your attorney? Close your eyes. Okay. Tell me you're gonna be okay, baby. Come on, tell me. Make me believe it. It will be. This is all part of the process. They're gonna do this. Back and forth. Fucking around. I'm telling you. Watch what I tell you. Yeah. You can't even let it bother you because you have no idea what the fuck it is. You have no idea. So therefore, just because I know they found the extra phone in my, listen, before you say anything, it was that old beat up phone I listened to my phone, my music when I play a extra phone. I'm serious. I know that's one of them. It doesn't even work. It just has music on it. So they're just bullshit. You know? Just bullshit. Mm-hmm. So, the little shit, who knows? Who knows? We'll see. Did you catch anything about that 56 thing? What I didn't catch that.
I don't know what that means.
She either the judge said it or the DA said it. Something about 56 something. I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it. I was trying to pay attention. I didn't get it. I thought she said like 56 lesbians or some shit. I thought something like that.
No, there's thousands.
Oh, I know, it was like 13,000, I heard 9,000 or some shit.
Yeah.
Messages. Oh, when I was yours, because you were texting, you were texting family and stuff like that. And it wasn't just between you and I, it was just in general.
No, between our numbers.
So, let's get this evidence, let's find out everything they have before, that's what I'm doing with my guy. I want to see everything. I want to see this new shit too, whatever the fuck this is. Whatever it is, it probably has something to do with that phone shit they were talking about just now. We'll find out. Cause, shit. The only phones I know about were the phone you took from me that day and my phone at the house. I don't know others. We'll see. Take it. That's a really good book.
Yeah. You said in that letter, so many things you know about me that I don't know you know. Like what?
Well, when you apparently were in that, with that informer in your cell, you said I'm your lover, I'm your confidant, I'm your best friend. It's in your statement. And it felt good to hear my voice because he said it. That wasn't part.
So true.
I know. So that's what I say. I know you do stuff and say stuff you don't even know you're doing it, and it gets back to me. So, but there's, I have a plan to straighten all this out. I just gotta see everything. I gotta see everything. I gotta make sure everything's okay. That's all. So, yeah. So, just gotta make sure. Get all the info. And know what's going on out there. So. Because they said 7 phones almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, my family is 4. And you had 3. Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I still have, I have a good idea on what needs to get done. I just gotta see everything that's going on. I just need a little time for them to finish whatever they're doing. And kind of, yeah. Like I said, I wish I had a direct line. I could tell you so much more. You'd die laughing on some of the shit I would tell you. Because it would make so much sense.
Well, you can write it and give it to me Monday.
I'll try. Okay. describe some of the stuff and then explain it to you, you'll be like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. You'll be like, that makes sense. So, I forgot what you said. Oh, fuck. I'll bring it up though. Alright. So I'm trying to take information that's known already, that they've already, determined whatever their stuff is, to something that you understand. Oh, that makes sense. Anyway, before you get your mind wandering, I'll just wait until you go here.
Oh, God. How did you make this ring?
Huh?
How did you make the ring?
I had it made. It cost me a suit.
That's it?
That's it. Actually, I was supposed to get one more made, which I'm gonna get made, which is my ring. That one was yours. That's supposed to be one more.
How did he do that? He stitched it in there?
Yeah. Shampoo bottle, material. They come up with some ingenious shit.
Oh, I know.
There's a chrome one they make now that's made out of Lay's potato chip bags. It looks like a real fucking ring. Looks real as fuck. I was gonna have a necklace made for you too. Just wanna make sure and let you know that I'm thinking about you. That's all it is. Come up with new ways. And so you show me the underwear. After you show me the underwear,
I want to kiss you.
maybe we could sneak one in there somewhere. I was trying to touch your hand at least. They're doing a good job of keeping us separated.
Yeah.
If we're nice to these guys, they'll let us be, they'll eventually let us, because we're going to start coming here a lot. They'll let us, if we're cool with them,
Yeah.
they'll be fine, as long as they don't go stupid.
I wonder if their new information, new discovery is of us here last time.
No, that's something to do with this. That's something to do with that little phone shit they were talking about, whatever that is. That's something to do with that, I'm sure. We're not talking about shit here. We're not talking about nothing. We're talking about goofy shit here. So I think it has to do with that whatever that phone shit is. Whatever this 710 phone thing, whatever that is. So, I don't know. We'll see. Don't worry about it. Then we can do about it right now. We'll see by the end of the week. So, don't sweat it. Then you can do it. You'll probably know before me. But I don't know. I don't talk to mine until I see him. Like
Me neither.
Yeah.
So no point in writing about it since we're both going to be knowing the same thing by Monday.
So it was a good day. Still. Yeah. Still. I'll be thinking about you all week. And I'll be thinking about you till next week.
Me too, baby. Me too. Do you really talk to me every night at 9 o'clock?
Actually, it's more like 9:30, 9:45. Because count is like right in the middle. So make it 10 o'clock every night for sure. And I'll verbally tell you I love you. I'll verbally say it out loud.
I do. I say it out loud.
You get newspapers?
Yeah.
I change the newspaper every day. Make sure there's no bullshit in it.
Did you see it when I was on the front page?
I didn't see that.
I didn't see it because they took it away before I got back.
You said a big picture of it?
I don't know. I never saw it.
No. I think I know which one you're talking about. I don't think it even had a picture of it. It just had art. I saw that. I cut it out. I got it. This was about a month ago, right? It was on the 10th. 29th. It was on the 29th. So the 30th. I think. But it was on the front page, though. But it didn't have a picture. It had a picture of him, I think. That's it. Not of you. Just the article about it. That was it. That's all I saw.
Please, question.
Detective, when we heard
There's more,
the
counsel. There's more.
sound of tearing and flushing, was that them ripping up jail mail or jail kites they sent to each other?
Objection, no foundation.
Sustained.
Did they talk about tearing up their letters to each other?
Yes.
When we heard at the end the mention of a picture of him, referring to Fabio Sementilli, in the approximately 60 hours of recordings in the lockup, whether it was the 2 that occurred in Van Nuys or the 4 here downtown, was there ever any conversation about Fabio Sementilli or his murder?
No, there wasn't.
Your Honor, we'd like to pass out the next grouping. This is from 8/24/2017, which would be... Let me look at it. Pages.
Do you have a time on that? It's going to be. Let's take our afternoon recess at this time. We're just going to get back. Yeah, Mr. Price. See you back in 15 minutes.